Hello, welcome once again to one of these Ref 21 interviews, and I have with me my dear friend Ligon Duncan, from whom you'll hear in a second, but I also have Philip R. Johnson. We share something in common, that we get mistaken for someone by the same name.
That's right.
This is not Philip E. Johnson, the Darwin book, Berkeley University. That's another guy, another space, another time. This is our good friend Philip R. Johnson from California.
That's
and
right.
You're here in Jackson for a conference this coming weekend.
Yes, up in Laurel, or down in Laurel, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm speaking at Jerry Marcelino's church in Laurel for their Reformation Conference.
Jerry's a good friend of ours and doing just great work for the cause
It's
of the
Audubon
Reformation.
Drive Bible Church?
Right, Audubon Drive Bible Church. And I think they have a conference like this every October 31st.
Our good friend Joel Beakey has been here a number of times for Jerry, and he always brings in great speakers. So
Yeah.
you're in a great train of good
I'm
preachers.
looking forward to it.
Now, I want to pick up with you, first of all, you have this great love for Dr. Martin Lloyd-Jones. And,
Yes.
and do you head up the Lloyd-Jones Trust?
No, I'm
Recording
actually
Trust?
a board member of the Martin Lloyd-Jones Recordings Trust in England. They are our partner ministry for Grace to You, John MacArthur's recording ministry, and the same staff and company really distributes all of our messages throughout Europe.
And they distribute not just Lloyd-Jones material,
But also John MacArthur.
John MacArthur's material, and this is in MP3, CD.
When
all
we
the
started,
above.
it was cassette tapes. It went to CDs almost exclusively within the past 5 years, and now it's making the move to MP3.
And if folks want to go there, where would they go?
Ashford in Kent.
Online?
Oh, yes, online. It's
MLJ.org?
MLJ.org. Is that right?
I
Is
think
that
so.
sufficient? It used,
Here
to,
in the
it used to have
States.
that .co at the end
Yeah.
of it, but I think that's right, MLJ.org.
MLJ.org. Now, did you meet Lloyd-Jones?
No, I
in person?
didn't. When I got involved with them, it was about 7 years after he died.
You know, we were born within 3 months of each other.
Is that
in
right?
Well, we won't say. But we were born in the same year.
In the 50s.
In the 50s. We'll acknowledge that. And I met Lloyd-Jones maybe 6 times. And my great claim to fame was I was asked as a seminary student in 1975 to lead the meeting at which he was speaking. It was an annual occasion. He came to speak in Aberystwyth in Wales, and he preached on Psalm 8, What is man? That's
Yes.
the Psalm. And I was the one who introduced him and prayed, and I just remember my knees shaking as he was sitting behind me. But a wonderful, wonderful man.
Yes, I spoke in his church in Sandfields once, and they still refer to it as the doctor's pulpit. And I had the same trembling feeling when I stood there, almost as if he was looking over my shoulder.
Now, Ligon, you have some questions that you want to
Well,
ask.
I mean, I think most people will know that read Ref 21 that for years you've been working with John MacArthur, not only to help the ministry of Grace to You and the pulpit ministry of John, but also John's writing ministry.
That's right. I edit all of his major books. I have done that since 1981.
And can you tell us what you're working on right now?
Yeah, it's a book called The Jesus You Can't Ignore. I had to think about it because the working title has been Jesus versus the Pharisees. That's the idea. It's a study of all of Jesus' conflicts with the Jewish leaders. And it deals with the question, how did Jesus address false teaching? Did he ask for a colloquium with the false teachers? Did he want a conversation? Or did he actually confront the error with the truth and let the chips fall where they would?
Now, we just mentioned the Martin Lloyd-Jones Trust, just in case somebody doesn't know and they want to get to the Grace to You material. The web address is?
gty.org. By the way, big announcement coming up on Wednesday, the day after the election. We are making all of John MacArthur's MP3s available, downloadable for free from henceforth and forever.
I saw this on Justin Taylor's blog.
Yes,
he was mentioning this. Now, speaking of blogs, you and Frank Turk and Dan Phillips blog on pyromaniacs.
That's right. We just came off hiatus this morning.
Yeah, all of us have been having the DTs here, man. You got to get back to work, you know.
Well,
so.
see, the thing is, I've been editing this book, trying to get it
Yeah.
finished, and so I needed all of October to do that, and I thought, you know, it's probably time to take a break. So we put the blog on hold, and this morning we're back.
And the address for that is?
teampyro.blogspot.com.
Now, people can also get to it from your own Phil Johnson site, which has the Spurgeon archives and the Hall of Church History and all of that stuff. So
Spurgeon.org.
Okay. Now, which leads me to ask, just like you love Lloyd Jones, you love Spurgeon.
That's right.
And you've done a lot of work in making Spurgeon's material available online.
Yes, I started that in 1995. I was sick for about a month. I had a lung ailment that they were medicating with the wrong thing, and it actually was making the problem worse. So I actually missed a month and a half of work, and I'm sitting there caught up on everything with nothing to do. And that's when I purchased a modem and got online on the internet. The World Wide Web was less than a year old. Nobody knew about it. And I did a search for Spurgeon resources. There were 8 sermons online total. And they were all black text on a gray background, and I thought, that's dreadfully dull. So I downloaded those sermons, reformatted them with a white background and some margin space and bigger type, reposted them. And people noticed what I was doing. They started sending me Spurgeon sermons. And before I knew it...
I have to tell you my Spurgeon story. I was a student here at the seminary in 1974, here in 1976, here in Jackson. And one of my dearest friends in all the world was a Reformed Baptist, because I was a Reformed Baptist. And then he committed the unpardonable and became a Presbyterian. And he called me up one evening. He's still here in town. He called me up one evening and he said, you know, I bought all 66 volumes of the Metropolitan Tabernacle and the New Park Street, those first 6 volumes. And I don't want them anymore because I'm no longer a Baptist. And he said, do you want them? And I said, I'll be there in 10 minutes. And I drove around and brought home the 66
Can I just say,
that is
what
great.
an idiot.
Yeah, I know lots of Presbyterians who steal their material from Spurgeon.
Absolutely.
They were invaluable to me.
Spurgeon founded a pastor's college, and the man he put in as headmaster was a Presbyterian.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Now, if you had someone ask you, you know, I've never read any Spurgeon, where would you send them to start?
Spurgeon.org.
What
Actually,
book
I would say maybe start with a short biography of Spurgeon. Get to know the man, and then you'll appreciate his preaching a little more. And in fact, I recommend Ian Murray's book, The Forgotten Spurgeon.
Forgotten Spurgeon.
That, I think, is what sparked my original interest in Spurgeon. I'd heard of Spurgeon as a brand new Christian, tried to read some of his sermons. I was 17 years old. It just didn't register with me. And so for years I heard people talking about Spurgeon, how great he was, and I thought, I can't even make sense of the guy's stuff. And it wasn't really until almost 20 years later that I picked up Spurgeon again and began to read, and it was like a whole new world opened to me.
Right.
Spurgeon on the Downgrade is still, I think, very, very important material.
That's right. In fact, there's a collection of his downgrade writings published by Pilgrim Press in Texas. And I've got the entire collection also online, so you can read it for free. It's the collection of downgrade material. And I think that is really Spurgeon at his polemical best. It's obviously late Spurgeon. He died a few years after that controversy began. So that's some of the last material he wrote, but it's so full of passion, sounds like a 20-year-old man wrote it.
And it's Spurgeon.org.
Spurgeon.org.
Spurgeon.org. Phil, our time is gone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We wish you every blessing in your ministry and Laurel with our dear friend Jerry Marcelino this weekend.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. Thanks, Ligon.